All right, everyone. So now we've come up to the fourth part of our video series on the seven Hermetic principles of the Kybalion. We've explored mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, and rhythm. We're now going to discuss cause and effect and the final principle, gender. Let's go into the principle of cause and effect. The principle of cause and effect is the sixth Hermetic principle outlined in the Kybalion. It states that every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. To make it a little more simple for me, I'll just say that there's no such thing as coincidence. What are the core principles of the principle of cause and effect? Well, the first is universal causation. This principle asserts that nothing happens by chance. Every event, action, or phenomenon is the result of a preceding cause. Similarly, every cause produces an effect. The universe operates according to immutable laws, and understanding these laws helps us to comprehend the relationship between effect and cause, cause and effect. Let's go into the chains of causation. Events and phenomena are linked in the chains of causation that extend throughout the universe. This means that every action sets off a chain reaction, leading to multiple effects, for better or for worse. These chains can be observed at different levels of existence, and from the physical to the mental and the spiritual planes, we will see these chains running throughout each. What about the law of karma? The principle of cause and effect is closely related to the concept of karma in various spiritual traditions. It implies that our actions, causes, have consequences, effects, which can manifest in this life or the next. In other words, in future lives. Understanding this principle encourages individuals to act mindfully and responsibly, knowing that their actions will bring corresponding results. Let's go into further detailed explanation on this. And to that end, we need an understanding of causation. The principle of cause and effect highlights the importance of understanding the reasons behind events and actions. By recognizing that everything happens for a reason, we can gain a deeper insight into the workings of the universe and ultimately our place within it. What are perhaps some examples of this in everyday life? Well, let's go to the physical world first. In the physical world, the principle is evident in natural laws such as gravity, where a cause, dropping an object, leads to an effect, the object falling. Of course, that doesn't necessarily explain how we have gravity, but nonetheless, we do know that it is a cause and effect. Human behavior. In human behavior, actions and decisions lead to outcomes and consequences. Positive actions often lead to positive outcomes, while negative actions can result in undesirable consequences. Of course, that doesn't always have to hold true. Sometimes, as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. Application and personal development. We have mindful action. By understanding that our thoughts, words, and actions have consequences, we can strive to act with intention and mindfulness. This awareness helps in creating positive outcomes in our lives and in the lives of others. What about problem solving? Recognizing the causes behind problems or challenges allows us to address them more effectively. Instead of merely treating symptoms, we can identify and change the underlying causes. Thus, preventative medicine is perhaps better than the medicine that's simply treating the symptoms. So let's do a knowledge check here. What does the principle of cause and effect state about the nature of events and actions in the universe? Our answer would be that the principle of cause and effect states that every event, action, or phenomena is the result of a preceding cause, and every cause produces an effect. Nothing happens by chance. Everything follows immutable laws. And in some ways, some things happen exactly as they are meant to happen. Let's go to the principle of gender. The principle of gender is the seventh and final Hermetic principle described in the Kybalion. It states that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. I think, on my own understanding, I've always believed that people exist on a spectrum of gender. I know that doesn't sound very popular with a lot of people, but I think there is something to that. So, what are some core concepts on the principle of gender? Universal manifestation. This principle asserts that gender is present in everything and manifests as the masculine and feminine principles. These principles are not limited to the physical plane, but exist on mental and spiritual levels as well. Gender in this context does not merely refer to physical sex, but to the qualities and attributes associated with masculinity and femininity. For example, if a male acts in a very caring way for a child, some might very well accuse that male of acting in a very motherly, feminine fashion. Of course, there is fatherly love, but fatherly love is seen as more stern and strict. The masculine principle is characterized by attributes such as assertiveness, logic, initiative, and outward action. It is often associated with the creative force. The feminine principle embodies attributes such as receptivity, intuition, nurturing, and inward reflection. It is associated with sustaining and nurturing force. Both principles are necessary for creation and manifestation. They complement and balance each other out. You can just as easily have a mom who's telling her sons, hey, tighten up, right? Maybe punches them. Says, hey, you gotta be tougher than that, right? Mental and spiritual gender. On the mental plane, the masculine principle can be seen as the conscious mind, which directs and initiates thoughts and actions. The feminine principle can be viewed as the subconscious mind, which receives and processes ideas and feelings. I guess it's for this reason that intuition is often associated with femininity. On the spiritual plane, these principles work together to facilitate spiritual growth and development. Let's give a detailed explanation about this. Let's talk about the interdependence of the masculine and the feminine. The principle of gender emphasizes the interdependence of the masculine and feminine principles. Both are essential for balance, harmony, and creation. One cannot exist without the other, and together they may form a dynamic and creative process. Here are some examples of this occurring in nature and life. In nature, the interaction between masculine and feminine forces can be seen in reproduction, growth, and the cycle of life. For example, the pollination of flowers involves both masculine, which is manifested in the form of pollen, and feminine, which is manifested in the form of ovules. These are different elements. In the human experience, the balance of masculine and feminine qualities is important for overall well-being. Individuals who cultivate both assertiveness and receptivity, logic and intuition, often lead more balanced and fulfilling lives. After all, we cannot just sit here and say, well, I'm a masculine, so I have no intuition whatsoever. That would be a very unfortunate set of events, because if you've ever dealt with strategy and planning, you're going to need some intuition with that. Application of personal development. Inner balance. By recognizing and integrating both masculine and feminine qualities within ourselves, we can achieve greater inner balance and harmony. This involves embracing traits such as assertiveness and nurturing, logic and intuition. Creative processes. Understanding the interplay of these principles can also enhance creativity and problem solving. The masculine principle can drive innovation and action, whereas the feminine principle can provide insight and inspiration. In fact, you often hear sometimes when people talk about being pregnant, that people can be pregnant with ideas. Ideas that inevitably are put into effect and that are manifested. You don't have to be a feminine for that to happen. How do the masculine and feminine principles manifest according to the principle of gender? This is a knowledge check. Our answer is going to be the masculine principle is characterized by attributes such as assertiveness, logic, and initiative, while the feminine principle embodies receptivity, intuition, and nurturing. Both principles are necessary for balance, harmony, and creation, and they manifest on physical, mental, and spiritual levels. Understanding and applying the principles of cause and effect and gender can lead to a deeper comprehension of the interconnectedness and balance in the universe, fostering personal growth, creating harmony in one's life and surroundings. I'd also like to add that if you've ever looked at zodiac really carefully, you'll see that masculine and feminine principles apply there as well. Let's talk about the Kybalion as a whole now. So, from what we've discussed in this four-part series, the Kybalion is a work that delves real funny, delves into Hermetic philosophy, attributed to three anonymous individuals known as the Three Initiates. It explores the teachings of the mythical Hermes Trismegistus, right, which is a legendary figure that's associated with wisdom and enlightenment, but actually didn't really exist, right, from ancient Egypt and Greece. The book's purpose is to provide a comprehensive understanding of universal principles that govern reality, serving as the master key to unlock and reconcile various esoteric and principles of occult knowledge. The Kybalion outlines 7 fundamental principles, which we've discussed in this 4-part series: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. The principle of mentalism posits that all is mind, the universe is mental, indicating that everything is a mental creation of a universal mind, or we could even call that a collective consciousness, right? The principle of correspondence states that as above, so below, and as below, so above, emphasizing the harmony between different planes of existence. The principle of vibration asserts that everything is in constant motion. In other words, that there's some sort of vibration going on, right? And the principle of polarity explains that everything has dual aspects that are identical in nature but differ in degree. The principle of rhythm highlights the cyclic nature of all things, with patterns of the rise and fall, the flow and the ebb, the seasons, and so on and so forth. The principle of cause and effect teaches that every action has a corresponding reaction, and nothing is coincidence, and nothing happens by chance. The principle of gender indicates that everything contains both masculine and feminine elements, which are essential for creation as well as ultimate balance. The Kybalion encourages readers to apply these principles in their lives to achieve personal mastery, as well as deeper understanding. It uses symbolism and metaphor to convey complex ideas and emphasizes continuous learning and personal growth. I hope that you were able to enjoy this 4-part series. By integrating these principles, individuals can enhance their mental and spiritual development, influencing their reality positively. Or at least we would hope so, right? The teachings of the Kybalion provide a framework for understanding the interconnectedness of all things and the underlying unity of existence. Ultimately, the Kybalion serves as a guide for those seeking to explore the mysteries of the universe and achieve higher levels of consciousness. If you've ever listened to a lot of spiritualists on different channels like TikTok or YouTube and so forth, you will find that a lot of these principles get incorporated into their particular readings, their shows, their whenever they bring messages from the divine, that a lot of this comes into play. In other words, a lot of spiritualists have turned to Hermeticism to kind of really get a deeper understanding of the universe. I hope that you've enjoyed this content. Please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate your support as always. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Take care. Thank you. Bye.